Let's now bring in former Army Sergeant Dan Hollaway, who is the host of Drinking Bros podcast and Citizen podcast, and economist Mitch Roschelle, who is the founding partner of Macro Trends Advisors. Thank you both so much for being here. Dan, I want to start with you. You are a veteran of the 82nd Airborne Division. Thank you so much for your service. The Pentagon has ordered 2,000 soldiers from the 82nd to the Middle East. I know you support the president's goals in Iran, but how would you feel about boots on the ground, and how do you feel about the 82nd being deployed?
Sure, it depends on what you mean by boots on the ground. People have this idea because of the GWAT, what our capabilities are, and certainly we're good at kicking down doors and bringing the fight to the enemy. But what the 82nd Airborne really specializes in is jumping into or inserting otherwise into a non-permissive environment and setting up an effective city. Food, mechanics to fix vehicles, hospitals, everything you need for a base of operations to launch more closely targeted special operations missions as well. So when I see something like that, especially with headquarters command and a couple of infantry battalions going, my mind immediately thinks that they're going to set up a base of operations, not necessarily to conduct an invasion, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. And would you support that?
It depends on where it is. I don't think it's a good idea tactically to put people on Karg Island, an island which almost certainly is zeroed by Iranian missiles. That seems like a horrible idea to me. But if it's somewhere else where we already have air defense, yeah, it would make sense to do that 100%.
Now, Mitch, I wanted to ask you about the markets. Oil has been up, oil has been down. We're in this kind of roller coaster where every time the president opens his mouth, it goes in one direction or another. How is Wall Street responding currently? What is the state of the war from their point of view? And when can the American people expect relief in terms of gas?
Well, the problem is Wall Street hates uncertainty, and what we're operating in is this protracted period of uncertainty. It's been 5 weeks that the stock market has been losing because they don't know what the future looks like. They don't know when the end is in sight, and that's something that investors suffer for. But the reality is, everyday Americans feel it every time they drive down the street and see a neon sign with gas prices that are $1 more than what they were. And I think that's the sort of the political side of things. The stock market and oil prices are going to be correlated, meaning as soon as we start to see oil prices come down because speculators are sort of stepping back, I think we're going to see the drama in the marketplace calm down considerably.
Now, Dan, your podcast goes out to 200,000 veterans of foreign wars. You have a real feel for how the veteran community is feeling. How are they metabolizing this war, would you say? What is the general feel about the military being used in this way, and whether we're succeeding and whether these are noble goals?
Sure. I mean, people that follow, I mean, there's obviously, and it's not a monolith. People have very different opinions on this, and a lot of it is based on experience. I mean, I get both. I understand people who are very reticent. I would say that you should be skeptical of the government always. That's your job as an American citizen, is to be skeptical of the government. But skepticism is not a worldview on its own. It's a complement to a worldview. So if you're only skeptical always, then you can't ever really arrive at acknowledging what truth is. So I see these people who are very skeptical. I see some who are a little bit too far on the skeptical side because the threat from the Iranian regime is quite obvious, in my opinion, and I think the damage they've done to Americans, especially members of the GWAT, actually, is quite obvious as well. So I see some of that, but mostly I see, to be honest, and this is kind of tongue-in-cheek, but it's actually true as well, I see a lot of jealousy because Iran hammered us quite a bit in Iraq, and it would be my sincere pleasure to take some of them off of this planet. However, the younger generation gets that privilege now, and God bless them.
It's so nice to hear that we're still capable of distinguishing between, a just military aim and then ones that, maybe weren't as successful. Mitch, I wanted to ask you about China. I mean, this is such a big piece of this. From a certain point of view, it seems almost like the president's aims more globally is to force China to buy oil at market rates when it was getting these sort of sweetheart deals with all of our adversaries. How's that going?
Well, that's exactly what's happening, Batya. And I think the president deserves, and this administration deserves, a tremendous amount of credit for the strategic nature of this. This wasn't simply about Iran and good versus evil. This is about all of the evil around the planet and sending a message to them.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.